Now and Then hit theaters in 1995 and quietly became one of the most beloved coming-of-age films of its generation. The comedy drama followed four childhood friends who reunite as adults in their Indiana hometown, flashing back to the pivotal summer of 1970 that shaped who they became, navigating divorce, grief, first crushes, and the bonds of female friendship along the way. 30 years later, let's see where the cast ended up. Demi Moore played adult Samantha, the successful science fiction author who narrates the story, and also served as the film's producer, making Now and Then very much her passion project. Born November 11, 1962, in Roswell, New Mexico, Moore was one of the biggest stars on the planet in 1995, having come off Ghost, A Few Good Men, Indecent Proposal, and Disclosure in quick succession. She championed this film from the very beginning, developing the project alongside producer Suzanne Todd and even casting her own daughter Rumor Willis as Samantha's little sister in the film. She went on to earn a reported $12.5 million for Striptease in 1996, making her briefly the highest paid actress in film history. The late 1990s and early 2000s brought a string of films that underperformed critically, and Moore stepped back from the spotlight for a period, but she came roaring back in 2019 with her memoir Inside Out, in which she wrote candidly about addiction, her difficult childhood, and her marriages, including her complicated relationship with Ashton Kutcher, whom she married in 2005 and divorced in 2013. The book became a New York Times bestseller and reintroduced her to a new generation of fans. Moore has spoken openly in recent years about reclaiming her sense of self and stepping into her life on her own terms. Now 62, she remains one of Hollywood's most resilient and compelling figures, and the woman whose vision for a female coming-of-age story gave audiences something they've treasured for 30 years. Ashley Aston Moore played young Chrissy DeWitt, the sweetly naive, hilariously sheltered girl whose innocence provides much of the film's warmth and comedy. Born September 30th, 1981, in Sunnyvale, California, she grew up partly in Richmond, British Columbia, and began acting at age 4. Her very first job involved wearing a chicken suit in a restaurant commercial. Her portrayal of Chrissy required her to gain 20 pounds for the role, a challenge she took on at just 13 years old that, according to those close to her, caused lasting self-image struggles. After a handful of small roles following Now and Then, she quietly stepped away from Hollywood in 1997 and returned to Canada to be near her family. Tragically, Ashley Aston Moore died on December 10, 2007, in British Columbia at the age of 26. Reports differ on the exact cause, with some citing pneumonia and bronchitis and others referencing an accidental drug overdose. Her castmates were heartbroken. Thora Birch, who only learned of her passing years later, told ABC News, "Ashley was a really cool kid. She had a great personality. She still lives on as Chrissy to me. Her brief time on screen left a lasting impression, and her loss is a reminder of how quickly the brightness of youth can be taken away." Before we go on, make sure to like this video and subscribe. We do these types of videos every week, and you won't want to miss a single one. Gaby Hoffmann played young Samantha Albertson, the introspective, seance-obsessed girl whose parents' divorce shapes her entire view of the world. Born January 8, 1982, in New York City, Hoffmann was already a child star. She had appeared in Field of Dreams, This Is My Life, and Sleepless in Seattle before Now and Then, and her nuanced performance as Sam was the emotional heart of the film. Thoughtful, searching, and quietly fierce, Sam felt like the character most likely to grow up and tell this story. Offset, she bonded with her castmates over a shared obsession with Pulp Fiction, which the four girls reportedly watched over and over during production. After the film, Hoffmann largely stepped back from acting through much of the 2000s, choosing to pursue her education and personal life away from the industry. Her return was slow and deliberate, and ultimately triumphant. She earned widespread acclaim for her role as Ali Pfefferman in the groundbreaking Amazon series Transparent from 2014 to 2019, a performance that won her serious critical attention and put her firmly back on the map. She also had a recurring role on the HBO series Girls during the same period. Hoffmann has spoken openly about how valuable that time away from Hollywood was, and how it allowed her to return as a fully formed adult rather than a former child actress trying to reinvent herself. She lives in New York with her longtime partner Chris Dapkins and their daughter. Now 43, she is recognized as one of the most thoughtful and committed actresses working in independent film and television today. Melanie Griffith played adult Teenie, the glamorous Hollywood actress, essentially Teenie's wildest childhood dream made real. Born August 9, 1957, in New York City, Griffith was already an Academy Award nominee for Working Girl, with a long career behind her when she joined Now and Then. Her warm, self-aware performance played knowingly on her own image as a star. In the years that followed, she was married to Antonio Banderas from 1996 to 2014, making them one of the most prominent couples in Hollywood. Griffith has been open about her struggles with addiction addiction and recovery, speaking frankly about the challenges of staying sober. Her daughter from her marriage to Don Johnson, Dakota Johnson, has become one of Hollywood's most acclaimed young actresses in her own right. Now 67, Griffith remains a compelling figure, whose performance as the fabulous, self-assured teenie is one of the film's most entertaining elements. Thora Birch played young teenie Tercel, the glamour-obsessed, boy-crazy aspiring actress who stuffed her bra with pudding-filled balloons. Born March 11, 1982, in Los Angeles, Birch was already a seasoned performer, having appeared in Hocus Pocus and All I Want for Christmas before this film. She described playing teenie as a way of connecting with her own budding teenager, since she had just been coming out of her tomboy phase. She later said the cast grew so close that the set felt like a 24-hour sleepover, though that closeness also meant they were really good at fighting, which she took as a sign of how genuine the bond was. All four girls, Birch also admitted, had a wild crush on Devon Sawa, who played Scott Wormer. Birch's biggest post-film moment came with American Beauty in 1999, where her searingly observed performance as Jane Burnham earned her a Golden Globe nomination and introduced her to an entirely new audience. Following year, she starred in the cult film Ghost World alongside Scarlett Johansson, earning another Golden Globe nomination. She also received an Emmy nomination for her performance in the TV movie Homeless to Harvard, the Liz Murray story. After a period away from the industry in the mid-2000s, during which she spoke honestly about the difficulties of transitioning from child star to adult actress, Birch returned to working steadily, appearing in the USA Network Drama Colony and a string of independent films. Now 43, she continues working in film and television, with Now and Then remaining one of the most cherished entries in a long and quietly impressive career. Devon Sawa played Scott Wormer, the oldest of the four brothers who torment the girls all summer, and the one Roberta ends up having a crush on anyway. Born September 7, 1978 in Vancouver, Sawa was already a teen heartthrob from Casper when Christina Ricci recommended him for Now and Then, and all four young actresses reportedly had a crush on him on set, a fact Thora Birch later confirmed with zero hesitation. He went on to star in Wild America, Idle Hands, and the original Final Destination, and memorably played the obsessive fan Stan in Eminem's landmark music video. His career hit a difficult stretch in the early 2000s when heavy drinking took its toll. He was not invited back for the Final Destination sequel, with the studio citing concerns about his reliability. He has spoken candidly about those years, crediting sobriety and a move back to Canada with turning his life around. He married producer Donnie Sahanovich in 2013, and they have 2 children. Sawa staged a strong comeback with the horror series Chucky from 2021 to 2024, playing 5 different characters, and starred in the horror comedy Hard Eyes in 2020. His first wide-release film in over 2 decades. Now 46, he is one of the more honest comeback stories in Hollywood. Rita Wilson played adult Chrissy, the warm, heavily pregnant homemaker who never left Shelby and quietly holds the group together. Born October 26, 1958 in Los Angeles, Wilson had appeared in Sleepless in Seattle and was already friends with several castmates when she joined the film. Her portrayal of grown-up Chrissy was gentle and grounded, anchoring the present-day storyline with real heart. Wilson is married to Tom Hanks. They met on the set of Volunteers in 1985, and her career has steadily broadened with roles in That Thing You Do, Jingle All the Way, Runaway Bride, and It's Complicated, alongside a parallel career as a singer and songwriter. In 2015, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, underwent a double mastectomy, made a full recovery, and became a vocal advocate for genetic testing and early detection. In 2020, she and Hanks were among the first major celebrities to announce a COVID-19 diagnosis. Now 66, she remains one of Hollywood's most genuinely beloved figures, an actress, musician, producer, and health advocate whose warmth is entirely real. Rosie O'Donnell played adult Roberta, the no-nonsense doctor who returns to Shelby with her guard firmly up. Born March 21, 1962, in Commack, New York, O'Donnell had broken through with A League of Their Own and Sleepless in Seattle when she was approached for this film. The producers had to work hard to land her. They flew to New York to catch her performing on Broadway in Grease, then ambushed her backstage after the show and took her to dinner to make their case. It worked, and her grounded, quietly emotional performance gave adult Roberta a fully realized inner life that matched beautifully with Ricci's younger version of the character. After Now and Then, O'Donnell became a true television institution as host of The Rosie O'Donnell Show from 1996 to 2002, winning multiple Daytime Emmy Awards and becoming one of the medium's most beloved personalities. She later became a recurring co-host on The View, where her outspoken opinions made her must-watch television. In 2002, she became one of the first major celebrities to publicly come out as gay, and has since been an outspoken advocate for LGBTQ+ rights and for same-sex adoption. adoption. She has spoken with equal candor about her struggles with mental health, including depression, and in 2012 suffered a heart attack, an experience that turned her into a passionate advocate for women's heart health awareness. She has 5 children. Now 63, O'Donnell continues performing stand-up comedy and making television appearances, carrying with her a legacy as one of entertainment's most fearlessly authentic and generous voices. Christina Ricci played young Roberta Martin, the tomboyish, fiercely guarded girl still carrying the grief of losing her mother. Born February 12, 1980, in Santa Monica, Ricci was already famous for playing Wednesday Addams when she took on the role, and her performance here was noticeably warmer and more vulnerable, a completely different side of her talent. On set, she was the group's biggest Quentin Tarantino obsessive, seeing Pulp Fiction an astonishing 14 times. After Now and Then, Ricci built one of the most eclectic careers of her generation, taking on roles in The Ice Storm, Sleepy Hollow, and Monster, becoming a favorite of independent filmmakers throughout the late 1990s and 2000s. More recently, she found renewed acclaim on the Showtime series Yellow Jackets, earning Emmy and Golden Globe nominations. In 2022, she returned to the Addams universe on Netflix's Wednesday, this time as a villain opposite Jenna Ortega. Ricci has said that Now and Then helped her realize she could be more than Wednesday Addams, that she had a range the world hadn't yet seen. Now 45, she is married with 2 children and remains one of the most respected and fearlessly original actresses of her generation. Now and Then captured something true about the intensity of childhood friendships and the bittersweet pull of going back, and audiences have been quietly renewing that pact every time they press play for 30 years. Not everyone from that cast made it to today. The loss of Ashley Aston Moore at just 26 is a wound that still aches, but her performance as Chrissy endures, just as warm and funny and alive as the day it was filmed. Who was your favorite character? Drop it in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our other Where Are They Now videos.